Welcome to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft, welcoming you to our live 5 days a week look into all things Oakland County. Today, we'll be talking to local event makers, artists, and more about topics important to people like you right here in Oakland County. Let's get into today's headlines on our Civic Center TV website, civiccentertv.com. On our local news page, our top story today from Robin Erb at Bridge, Michigan is their coronavirus tracker. As cases have inched up to 1,994 cases per day, and another 106 deaths have been tallied by the state. Michigan reported 13,956 new confirmed cases for the past week on Tuesday, an average of 1,994 per day, the second week consecutively of rising cases. That's up from an average of 1,968 cases just a week ago and 1,510 the week before that. The state also recorded another 106 deaths in the previous week, bringing the total number of deaths to 34,154 since the onset of the pandemic, according to state's records. Officials have said that much of the current caseload is driven by the BA.5 subvariant of the Omicron variant of COVID-19, which appears to be more transmissible, though it's not clear that it causes more severe disease than previous Omicron iterations. Despite 4 counties deemed in the high risk of transmission category by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, new cases, deaths, and COVID-19 hospitalizations overall remain far below levels during several other statewide surges over the course of the pandemic. Statewide, 904 patients were hospitalized with confirmed or suspected COVID, which is relatively unchanged over the past week. More updates on COVID-19 across the state from Bridge, Michigan, from Robin Erb, Mike Wilkinson, and others from Bridge, Michigan, available on our website, civiccentertv.com/local-news. Also making headlines on our local news page from Mike Martindale at the Detroit News. Parents of the accused Oxford High School shooter are appealing their charges and seek to exclude their son's texts from the case. Defense attorneys for the parents of the accused Oxford High School shooter are asking the Michigan Court of Appeals to overturn pretrial rulings that bound them over to circuit court to stand trial. And they also seek to bar their son's journal, emails, or text messages from being used at their trial if those proceed. James and Jennifer Crumbly, who are the parents of the alleged shooter, are charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter in the deaths of 4 high school students at Oxford High School in the November 30th shooting. If convicted, they both face up to 15 years, respectively, in prison. The teen is also charged with multiple felony offenses that carry up to a life sentence in prison. The now 16-year-old's trial is scheduled for January. The parents' trial is scheduled for October 24th. All of the family are being held at Oakland County Jail, of course, in separate areas. James among the men in the jail, Jennifer Crumbly among the women in the jail, and then the alleged shooter is in his own separate area, as he is still a minor, but he is being held in the adult jail, and that is the Oakland County jail policy. In the filing, attorney Shannon Smith and Marielle Lehman argue that judges abused their discretion in binding their clients over to circuit court, and that evidence regarding any knowledge of their son's state of mind before the shooting should not have been accepted and should not have been permitted at the couple's trial. The prosecution has argued that the Crumbleys had knowledge of their son's emotional and mental problems and did not do anything to help him, instead purchasing a handgun for their son that was later used in the shootings. During a meeting with the school officials the morning of the shooting, the parents were told that their son had scrawled violent drawings on his homework and was seen searching for ammunition on his cell phone. The district says that the parents never discussed the existence of the handgun and refused to remove their son from school as requested by officials. Instead, the 15-year-old was permitted to return to class with a backpack that officials say contained the handgun and ammunition that was later used 2 hours later on in the day to carry out the shooting. Oakland County Circuit Judge Cheryl Matthews recently issued a gag order against any of the attorneys in the case, including the prosecutor's office, from discussing matters with the news media. Calls from the Detroit News to all parties for comment were declined on Tuesday. The defense attorneys say that there is no proof that the Crumbly parents had read their son's journals or texts, which included several entries in which he complained that they would not provide him with mental health counseling. Those statements, attorneys said, amount to hearsay because they were sent to one of the teen's friends. The filings argue that District Court Judge Julie Nicholson and Circuit Court Judge Cheryl Matthews both abused their discretion in accepting testimony and evidence used to show negligence on the part of their clients. They also noted that Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald was pushing the parents' prosecution as part of a gun owner responsibility agenda. Defense lawyers noted that after announcing the charges, Prosecutor McDonald said, quote, "While the shooter was the one who entered the school and pulled the trigger, There were other individuals who contributed to the events on November 30th, and it's my intention to hold them accountable as well. It's imperative that we prevent this from happening again, end closed quote. The defense filing said the charges in part were meant to send the message that gun owners have a responsibility, end closed quote. The defense attorneys both seek oral arguments before the Court of Appeals for their respective clients, Smith for Jennifer Crumbley and Lehman for James Crumbley. They both expressed in the filings a desire for the alleged shooter to testify at his parents' trials. Quote, unless, and I'm going to paraphrase this part of it so as to not say the alleged shooter's name, unless the alleged shooter testifies at trial and can be cross-examined, there will be no way to test the reliability of the statements in the journal and the text messages to his friend. The alleged shooter makes claims within his journal and text about his parents and them doing various things, that they said various things, and that he told his parents certain information. Mr. and Mrs. Crumbley dispute things that their son wrote and must have the ability to confront the evidence if it will be used at trial. The only witness who can explain the content of the journal and the text message is their son. If he does not testify and cannot be cross-examined, the statements must be excluded, end closed quote. Moreover, if Mr. and Mrs. Crumbley testify in their own defense, it would be their word against the word of someone who cannot be cross-examined. If the parents do not testify, they would be convicted on the basis of words that they did not author or they did not even know about, which were not subject to cross-examination, end closed quote. All of that and more information on this case continues from the Detroit News, linked on our website, civiccentertv.com, on our local news page. Finally, making headlines on civiccentertv.com from the Detroit Free Press's Jamie L. LaRue, Chevrolet is about to offer a kit to convert gasoline classic cars into electric vehicles. Very interesting story here, an extensive article that we are cutting down a little bit on our website, but you can read in full by clicking on the link on civiccentertv.com, click on the headline or click on the thumbnail picture that has the Chevrolet logo, and it'll take you directly to this article from the Detroit Free Press. General Motors will soon offer an electric crate motor package to allow people to replace gasoline-powered engines with fully electric propulsion systems in classic cars. It's dubbed the Electric Connect and Cruise E-Crate package, and it's seen as, quote, a future business opportunity, said Chevrolet Vice President Scott Bell to the Detroit Free Press in a recent interview. The E-Crate is a motor and a package of components for use in vintage General Motors vehicles, but GM is not yet specifying which vehicles will be compatible with this device. Quote, we've done spectacular with what we call crate engines in old cars, putting new V8 internal combustion engines in older cars to make them more reliable and perform better, said Bell, who continued on by saying, quote, now we have that same group of people working on electric vehicle conversion kits for these classic cars, and close quote. Chevrolet first introduced the concept of the E-Crate in 2018 and brought out new iterations of the concept in 2019 and in 2020. It was supposed to start rolling out to the market in late last year, but it remains in development. Ford Motor Company launched its electric vehicle crate version late last year. Quote, the technology will soon be available through Chevrolet Performance, said Mark Lubin, GM spokesperson. He continued on by saying, quote, this specific offering is part of GM's larger strategy to provide electric vehicle component sets to a variety of different industries and applications outside of GM's product portfolio, end closed quote. GM's initial projected timeline for the retail E-Crate program has been delayed, quote, by the same broader supply chain issues which are being experienced throughout the industry, end closed quote. He said, General Motors is bringing 29 new electric vehicles to the market in the next few years, including a Chevrolet Blazer electric vehicle that it introduced on Monday night. Lubin declined to provide additional info regarding the timeline, pricing, or availability of the E-Crate program. Here are some of the pros and cons as listed in this article from the Detroit Free Press. Davis said he has had extensive conversations with General Motors and Ford about their electric vehicle conversion packages. The allure of what they're doing is that it would offer Moment Motor a full integrated system of motors and parts needed, which would bring down labor costs and lower prices for consumers and customers. Quote, we might be able to get our hands on original equipment manufacturer quality product, which is attractive, Davis said. Continuing on, Davis also said, quote, right now the conversion industry is working with lots of niche manufacturers. We have to get motors and converters from this company, and then they have to be able to combine it with battery modules from another company and stitch it all together, and close quote. Converting a classic car to an electric vehicle takes several months, requiring a lot of labor, making it expensive, Davis said. To convert a classic Camaro muscle car to an all-electric vehicle would cost the customer approximately $70,000 for parts and $50,000 for labor, for a total of about $120,000, he said. But with an all-inclusive kit, the cost of equipment might fall to $30,000, and the cost of his labor would be cut in half, bringing the total cost to about $55,000, end close quote. In another quote from Davis, he said, quote, "What I hope for in the future is that they would say, here's our solution for the Camaro or the Mustang. It's probably still going to be complicated and sophisticated to put it together, but if we can do a conversion like that in a few weeks rather than a few months, that would be great," end closed quote. The challenge that automakers face is that the architecture of a modern electric vehicle is not the same as that of a classic vehicle. The modern electric vehicle, for example, is powered by a drive unit consisting of an electric motor mated with a gearbox meant to sit between the driven wheels. He said, quote, "That is essentially incompatible with the way that a classic American car is, which has an engine up front that faces the rear and drives the rear axle with a drive shaft," end closed quote, Davis said. Continuing on, he also said, quote, "The kit that GM is working on, they have to take what comes off the manufacturing line being used on those vehicles and make modifications in order to make it fit and work on a classic vehicle," end closed quote. Lubin declined to comment on specific challenges GM faces in developing the E-Crate. Davis said he expects that Ford, like GM, will work to make a drive unit that can fit in a classic car because, quote, "People are looking at ways to customize cars, but it was billed as a crate motor, like it just drops in, but it's more complex than just that." In terms of a classic Blazer conversion, Chevrolet first previewed its E-Crate conversion concept with the Chevrolet E-Copo Camaro in 2018. It was an all-electric dragster that produced 700 horsepower and 600 pounds per foot of torque. A year later, Chevrolet showed the Chevrolet E10 concept at the SEMA show in Las Vegas. The E10 was a 1962 C10 pickup powered by an electric Connect and Cruise concept crate propulsion package. At the time, it offered 450 horsepower using components from Chevrolet Bolt electric vehicles. In 2020, Chevy showed a 1977 K5 Blazer converted into an all-electric propulsion. In the news release at the time, GM wrote, quote, "The K5 Blazer E is a functional proof of concept of the upcoming electric Connect and Cruise package Chevrolet Performance plans to sell in the second half of 2021, end closed quote. GM said to convert the K5 Blazer, the team removed the original 175 horsepower, 400 cubic inch V8 engine, 3-speed automatic fuel system, and exhaust. They installed a bolt motor to deliver 200 horsepower and 266 pounds per feet of torque. And paired a Chevrolet Performance electronically controlled 4-speed automatic transmission. There's so much more detail in this article, including the early days of development of the E-Crate and the crate package system between Ford and GM, and what GM is looking at in terms of furthering this initiative and getting that out to market as soon as possible. I'm sure you'll hear a lot more about it here on My Michigan TV, one of our partnering stations, and one of their afternoon shows, Steve Lato Live. He is a big-time car guy, and I'm sure he's going to be talking about this extensively on today's program. You can find that online, mymytv.com, for more information. All those headlines from today's program on our website, civiccentertv.com, on our local news page, as well as those ever-helpful links to accurate and up-to-date information on COVID-19 directly from the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great program ahead on this Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Up next, we'll be joined by Canterbury Village's Keith Aldridge, followed by one of the many artists at next week's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. That's up next on the Oakland County Megacast.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
County Megacasts are live daily 1-hour show about all things Oakland County. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program on civiccentertv.com on our Megacast page, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is one of the local area's most beloved curators of family fun. Keith Aldridge is the owner of Canterbury Village and joins us now on the program. Keith, appreciate you coming back on.
Yes, good morning. Nice intro. I appreciate that.
Thanks for joining us. A lot of fun coming up and wrap up the month of July, and we continue on the summer in Orion Township at Canterbury Village. Coming up this coming weekend, it's one of your most beloved events, the Michigan Medieval Fair, July 23rd and 24th at Canterbury Village. Tell us about that event and how people can participate.
Yeah, well, the event, the entertainment is second to none. Last weekend was the first. It's a 2-weekend event this year, or 2-weekend festival, I should say. And, I'm pretty hard to please. And last weekend I was walking around and I'm like, man, this is good stuff. So if you're in that genre of medieval, you want to dress up or you want to come and buy a costume, I mean, there are great vendors on site. Sunday morning I was on Fox and I had some of the garb on, and this stuff is beautiful. I mean, handmade leather. I mean, it's gorgeous. So come on out, have some fun. It's a great family event. Lots of entertainment. You can spend a couple hours out here, no problem. Have some turkey legs and have a great time.
There's so many great medieval fairs and Renaissance fairs in the state of Michigan, especially over the course of the summer. What sets this one apart in Oakland County at Canterbury Village?
Well, we are the only one that really has a medieval village, quote unquote. Yeah. I mean, that's what Canterbury is. It's based off of an old English village. We have our own castle, and nothing against the other festivals, but they can't compare to our architecture and what we have to offer. Obviously, we built a bunch of stages this year for performers. We have 5 stages now on our campus, and all of them are packed with entertainment. One of the stages is decked out, looks like a castle. So it's really good stuff. And the gentleman I teamed up with is heavily involved with Renaissance festivals around the country. And he's got grade A+ entertainment. So very, very happy with it.
And so what sort of entertainment, for those that may be interested in going and they just want to know what they're going to see in terms of the entertainment, who will be there and what will be the performances?
Well, we have live music, a bunch of different genres of live music, the medieval, flutes, bagpipes, guitars, you name it. The bands are fantastic on multiple stages. As I said, we have, different medieval type shows on our castle stage, which is really neat. I don't know how moms or dads will feel about this, but we have belly dancers. It's very tasteful, but it's kind of cool. It is very tasteful. So, obviously we're a family event center, but the belly dancers were neat. I got a chuckle out of it. And then we have the Detroit Fight Club. This is a sport to these guys. They dress in their armor, full head to toe. And it's kind of like a wrestling match. And, it's a point system. Obviously, on the national scale, guys do this for a living. Obviously, at Canterbury, it's a little downscale. But then we have the Jousters, which is it's pretty incredible, the jousting, and these guys actually joust and hit each other, and sometimes they fall off the horses, and you're like, all right, we're not getting paid for this. You're not in the NFL, but they do it. They love it, and they're passionate about it. These people are very passionate about their genre and this time period of history.
More information on this event coming up this weekend, wrapping up this weekend, July 23rd and 24th at Canterbury Village, can be found on Canterbury Village's website. That is simply canterburyvillage.com, canterburyvillage.com for more info and to purchase tickets. We're joined by Keith Aldridge, the owner of Canterbury Village, located in Orion Township, on the Oakland County Megacast next weekend, July 30th and 31st. Another fun event there, as people in Oakland County and surrounding areas can run through platform 9 3/4, end up over at Canterbury Village to celebrate Harry Potter's birthday weekend. Tell us about that event.
Well, we've been doing Harry Potter for a few years. When we first started it, we were doing it in the wintertime in our castle. We've kind of outgrown our castle. We can't hold any more people, so we decided to move it to summertime and let people enjoy the whole experience at Canterbury Village. And I tell you what, like medieval, obviously the Harry Potter genre, these people are passionate. Sometimes you can't tell the actors from the customers. They do a great job of dressing up. And it's a cool event. Obviously, our campus fits well for the theme. There's a great scavenger hunt, a lot of activities, and a lot of fun stuff to do. And then obviously quality vendors. So if you're looking for that particular wand or sword or something of that nature, you can find it.
We're joined by Keith Aldridge. He is the owner of Canterbury Village, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. Again, Harry Potter's birthday weekend, that is July 30th and 31st. That's coming up next week. More information can be found on canterburyvillage.com. And of course, for those of you that are currently watching on TV or on our streams or watching on demand on civiccentertv.com this afternoon on our Megacast page, you'll see the Facebook page also with more information on this event. For those of you listening on the radio, again, on demand, civiccentertv.com. Sometime this afternoon, just click on our Megacast link, click through to watch full interviews, and you can click on our interview from today with Keith Aldridge, owner of Canterbury Village on the Oakland County Megacast. And Keith, we talked in the past so many times about all the great small businesses that also call Canterbury Village home. There's so many great events throughout the year that often attract people to Canterbury Village. And one of the great benefits of that is that they're able to patronize these local businesses as well. You have another great event coming up at the beginning of August, the 6th and the 7th. It's it's Shop Small, Shop Local weekend at Canterbury Village. Tell us about that and how people can participate.
Yeah, it's a free weekend at Canterbury. Come on out. Obviously, support local businesses no matter where you're at. Canterbury Village, any downtown markets that you might be, by. Obviously, there's a place for Walmart and Amazon.com, but help out these small guys. It's important to the lifeblood of any local community. So for Shop Small, Shop Local, Shop Canterbury weekend, we just have street performers. We're going to have our own Princess Jocelyn out here, which we've introduced at Pirates and Princesses. It's gone kind of well. And we'll have live entertainment. It's just kind of a chill weekend, if that's the proper terminology. But yeah, come on out, listen to some music. Get some donuts at Yates Cider Mill and have some fun.
More information on canterburyvillage.com, canterburyvillage.com. And that event is August 6th and 7th. As we preview that event, can you tell us too, because even though that event isn't until August, these small businesses continue to operate at Canterbury Village throughout the year. Can you give us an example of some of these businesses that people may be able to interact with that are based right here in Oakland County, and they can interact with the Canterbury Village on a regular basis?
Yeah, so obviously our best known partner would be Yates Cider Mill. Yates Cider Mill #1, the big one in Rochester. Obviously the road is torn up, if anybody knows that area over at DeQuinder there. There's some serious construction problems. I feel bad for Mike and his family. So come on out to Yates at Canterbury. Plenty of parking, lots of room, and you get the same great cider and the same great donuts. And even we offer more baked goods here at Canterbury, which is kind of neat. We have a couple great small shop owners. One's called the Wooden Tulip. So if you have a trendy high school student or moms that are very trendy and like the shop, Jim and Becky do a wonderful job stuffing their store with the most unique and the most fashion type of stuff that's out right now. They have gotten a great following. They've been with us for 3 years now and have a huge following in the Lake Orion Oxford area. We have Scott's Farm General Store. They do a nice job. Obviously, the vegetables are coming into season now, and lots of fun stuff there. Then we have our 6 shop owners in the back, the small houses. A big variety of people. They've been with us for 3 or 4 years now. All the shop owners come on out and support them, and they do a great job.
We're joined by Keith Aldridge. He's the owner of Canterbury Village with us on the Oakland County Megacast. You can find more information on all of their upcoming events and also the small businesses housed at Canterbury Village by visiting canterburyvillage.com. Another great event coming up as we talk about supporting local and shopping local. We also want to talk about shopping Michigan Maid. You have a specific event for that. August 26th through the 28th. It is the Michigan Maid Festival at Canterbury Village. Give us a preview of that and just what sort of Michigan businesses are going to be housed at Canterbury Village for people to meet and, of course, buy some products from.
Yeah, no, this has turned into one of our bigger events on our calendar. What we do, which I think is pretty cool, we give free vendor space to any vendor that is 100% Michigan made. So if you make your candles at home or you make your wood signs at home or whatever you do, your paintings, it's all handmade. You get a free booth at Canterbury that weekend. And so far, we have over 65 vendors signed up already. And obviously, what do we have? 7 more weeks until the event kicks off. So we'll max out at 80 vendors, which is as much as we want to hold at Canterbury. And it's just a great way to shop local and shop neat ideas and help out those small business owners that might work during the week and try to make a little side money on the weekends.
Going into the fall and into September, you also have some car shows coming up at Canterbury Village. Can you preview that event for us?
Yeah, obviously the holiday weekend, we have the Corvette Fest, which is a charity for Leader Dogs of the Blinds. I think they've been at Canterbury 15 or so years now, maybe even more. Wally Yeager is a big sponsor of that. So tip my cap to Wally Yeager, which is our local Chevy dealership here in Lake Orion. And a big supporter of our community. And then we have the Cobra, Great Lakes Cobra Car Club out as well. And obviously, if you're a lover of the Ford versus Ferrari movie, come on out and see the Cobras. I mean, they're some of the coolest cars in the world ever made. So it's a nice weekend, nice family weekend. Come on out, have some fun, and see some beautiful cars.
Well, tell us more about the process that you go through as the owner of this business and as you're running this business to plan these festivals. Just how far in advance are you and your team at Canterbury Village considering what to do next year and what to do the year after that and getting the ball rolling on all these different and great variety of fun for the whole family at Canterbury Village?
Yeah, it's basically, obviously right after the year ends with our holiday stroll and then our mitten drop. I mean, the first week in January, we're planning on the calendar. Obviously, we've already even started on the calendar already for next year. See what events we want to add and what events maybe didn't really work for families in Oakland County. So it's a constant process, and our team does a great job. We got some great people. Obviously, a business of this size, you can't do it all by yourself. So our team does a wonderful job, and finding unique vendors. Unique acts and just providing a great product and a cheap family entertainment for people. Obviously the inflation is killing everybody right now, gas prices. So if you want to have a lot of fun, staycation, come on out to Canterbury Village. And it almost feels like you're in a different time period out here.
Lastly, another event on the docket for September as we get into more of the fall kind of weather around the time of September 10th and 11th. You have Michigan Donut and Ice Cream Fest happening at Canterbury Village. Give us a preview of that event here, Keith.
Well, that's kind of the tradition, isn't it? After the holiday weekend, all the cider mills kick into full gear, and we've been doing this event for a few years now, and it's a popular event for us. Obviously, having one of the most quality cider mills on site with Yates Cider Mill, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer for us. Lots of good family entertainment. Come on out, fill up on some yummy, tasty donuts and fill up on some ice cream. Who doesn't love that? Obviously, the weather's usually pretty solid first couple weeks in September, so let's have some fun, right?
Joined by Keith Aldridge. He is the owner of Canterbury Village in Orion Township. You can find more information on all their upcoming events throughout the rest of the summer, into the fall, and throughout the rest of the year. Keep up to date with them at CanterburyVillage.com, CanterburyVillage.com, where you can also purchase tickets to these events. And if you're interested in being a vendor at some of these events and participating yourself, you can also get in contact with Keith and the team at Canterbury Village, who joined us on the Oakland County Megacast. Keith, another minute or so with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that people should be keeping in mind as they head to Canterbury Village this summer, or things that maybe they should be keeping a lookout for in the near future?
Yep, and a couple of things. Obviously, we have our own food bank here at Canterbury Village. So anytime you want to come out to Canterbury, please bring some box goods, some dry goods. Our food pantry right now with inflation is being very, very busy. So please help families out that need some help. If you're fortunate, please help some people that aren't as fortunate. And then obviously wrapping up for the holiday season, we'll team up once again with the Bottomless Toy Chest. We do a lot of good work, or the Bottomless Toy Chest does it. We're just part of it. The Bottomless Toy Chest does all the work. Giving gifts to kids that are struggling through some difficulties at the local hospital. So please support our charity initiatives, and we sure do appreciate it, Metro Detroit.
Keith, we appreciate you joining us and telling us more about all these great upcoming events, of course, the small businesses and your charitable contributions as well at Canterbury Village. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. CanterburyVillage.com for more information on all of their upcoming events. And we appreciate Keith for joining us. We're going to take a break on the Oakland County Megacast. When we come back, artists from around the globe are coming to West Bloomfield Township next week for a nationally recognized art show. We'll talk to one of those artists next on the Oakland County Megacast.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome to the Oakland County Megacast, our live daily 1-hour show about all things Oakland County. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program on civiccentertv.com on our Megacast page, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is one of the many artists that you will meet next week in West Bloomfield Township at the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. Stephen Grieshaber is a wood artist from Blessed Roots Woodworking and joins us now on the Oakland County Megacast. Stephen, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, give us a little bit of insight on how you got into woodworking as your art of choice and kind of what you create.
Okay. Well, I actually was a teacher for 10 years. Me and my wife were both teachers. We lived in various places around the country and taught. I lived in Kansas for 4 years, Houston for 4 years, and taught in Denver as well for 2 years. And then kind of when the pandemic hit, schools kind of removed some positions because they were going online, and my was more of a interactive position. So we actually had 3 babies in 3 years, and we decided to move back home. And God kind of just led me to wood, honestly, and because it's like the purity of it and the beauty of it. And so we just got into woodworking. And I've been studying, self-studying for about 2 years now, 3 years now. And I wanted to be sure to be at expert craftsmanship before I launched our business. So we've been doing jobs for the past 2-3 years. But this is our first summer doing the show circuit. So we're pretty excited for that.
So what about woodworking really drives your passion for it? You said that it was something that you began doing at the beginning of the pandemic. You've only been doing this for a couple of years. What about it really drives your passion?
I really like the naturalness of it. And it kind of is timeless, you know? A lot of trends go in and out, and you got like marble countertops, then, you know, granite, and then or you got stainless steel, black, white appliances. It kind of, you know, the hardwood floors is a good example of just a home thing, was timeless, but and wood just kind of would never lose its, you know, its appeal to me. It's also I like the natural state of it. You know, it's you can just go outside, you see trees, see beauty. So I kind of just like that aspect of it drives me the most, is just the pure beauty and rawness of it.
We're joined by Stephen Grieshaber. He is a wood artist from Blessed Roots Woodworking and joins us on the Oakland County Megacast. You'll find him next week at the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show in the heart of West Bloomfield Township, Saturday, July 30th, and Sunday, July 31st, off of on Powers and Daly Road, just off of Orchard Lake Road, heading north toward M10 is where that show is. You can find more information on the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show's website at hotworks.org. Hotworks.org for more information on all the artists and entertainers and other community organizations you'll be able to meet up with at this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. Stephen, as you're approaching your art, obviously if it's a customized piece, you have that blueprint, you have kind of what your customer may want, but in the other aspects of your art, when you have that creative freedom to create whatever's on your mind, where does your approach to creating this wood art begin?
Well, yeah, it's funny you say that, because, you know, when I was teaching, I never thought myself as an artist, you know, and now I definitely do. We kind of, you know, think about it's a lot of our pieces are functional, and they can be tables or they could just be wall art. But even in our tables or a piece like that, a stand or a bookshelf, we definitely, I think about it as a piece of art. One thing I like to do is just kind of just let the, you know, the will inspire me, and just sit there and, you know, I don't know how it comes to you, and it's just a work of beauty, and you just have a vision. And when you have the means and then, you know, the tools, you're able to put that vision to work. So my brother asked me one day, he said, how much of it is just you staring at a blank wall of your job? And that's a lot of it. But sometimes, you know, you just get a thought and you say, boom. And then a lot of times after I get that thought, I think, how can I make it better? And so we kind of start with a blueprint of a basic framework of idea. And then I look at it and just, you know, figure out ways, how can I just take this to the next level? And sometimes you want things just to be clean, and there is no need to take it to any further level. But it's always kind of a work in progress. But, you know, I guess it's kind of like defining love or something. But, you know, you just can't put a definition on it. But when you know it's there, and you go, that's it. It's done. You know, so it's kind of a step-by-step process. But sometimes it's just a vision that you have, and it works.
You can learn more information on blessedrootswoodworking.com. That is Stephen's website, blessedrootswoodworking.com, to see all of his pieces and get in contact with him as well. And of course, you can see him on July 30th and 31st at this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show in West Bloomfield Township. That'll be on Powers and Daly Road. Yes, on the roads themselves. Those will be closed down by the West Bloomfield Police Department, and those are just off of Orchard Lake Road, north of Maple Road, between Maple and M10 in the heart of West Bloomfield Township. Again, Orchard Lake Fine Art Show, July 30th and 31st. More info on hotworks.org for more information on this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. And Stephen, what's great about working with wood is there's so much that you can do with it. There's so many different kinds of wood that each have their own texture and each have their own color and different unique features to it. And then you also go into what you can do working with paint or with epoxy or with different stains. There's so many different avenues that you can go. When you're creating your art, what for you grabs your eye the greatest of all the different things you can do to customize these different pieces?
Awesome. And in a minute, if you have time, I brought some species out to show people, sure, and as well as some epoxy. But one thing I love, the look of the wood is just important to us as the design. I like specialty woods. We used only kiln dried wood. We make sure we have very high quality wood. But even cheaper woods, that aren't as hard, they have a different appeal because they have a different type of beauty necessary. Like poplar has a rich green color, and it's not a rich, expensive wood because it's not hard. But if you're making like signs with it and it stays on a wall, if you have a tone of green that fits, you can use that type of wood. But if you're looking for something maybe on a table, the rich, deep beauty of black walnut is very appealing. But I definitely look at also the grains. I try to find specialty grains, maybe woods with burl in it. And it's funny because I'll look at a piece of wood and I'll be like, that's so beautiful. And I tell my friends or somebody like, look at that wood. And a lot of people are like, it's wood. And I'm like, no, and it's wood. And I heard you mention stains. It's ironic because one of the reasons I got into epoxy is because I will use stains at customers' discretion, but for me as an artist, I stray away from stains because it takes away the beauty of the wood. I like the natural beauty. But a lot of times when we're designing and we're carving into the wood, we want it to show. And if it's all the same color as the wood, it kind of doesn't have a contrast. And that's why a lot of people use stains to give a contrast when they engrave. So what we started doing was we started epoxy filling our engravings. So that way we can keep the integrity of the beauty of the color of the wood, but add that pop and that color appeal. I have some pieces that are stained, but very few. But again, if the customer decided that, again, the customer and the client, I call them clients, they are, obviously it's their vision just like mine. And that's another thing about our craft, our business is we really pride ourselves in doing custom work. So anything a client desires, we want to be able to bring that to, life. So stains we're not against stains, but we just love the purity of the color of the wood and the grain that you can see. We actually started using dyes instead of stains because it's a good tip for anybody at home because you can still keep the pop of the grain. You see the grain, it soaks into the pores of the wood instead of staying on top of it and covering it. So dyes are kind of a good happy medium in between the two.
We're joined by Stephen Grieshaber. He is an artist from Blessed Roots Woodworking, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. You'll find him in just a week or so from now at the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show, July 30th and 31st in the heart of West Bloomfield Township. Saturday, July 30th, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. is the art show time. Sunday, 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. It's just off of Orchard Lake Road, Powers and Daly Road as you head north toward M10 The Lodge in West Bloomfield Township next weekend, July 30th and 31st. More info, hotworks.org for more information. Stephen, you mentioned that you have some pieces nearby that you will be bringing to this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. If you have a moment, give us a look at some of those pieces and tell us about them.
Yeah, actually, I set up a nice little setup right here. And I'm going to go over three things. I'm going to show some wood slabs. We also specialize in wood slabs. So, people can call us. Black walnut is our specialty because I have a source where I go directly to get black walnut. And I go on a search for specialty slabs. And some of these slabs took me up to a year and a half to find. So they're very rare and to find. Maybe not, the species might not be rare, but to find them in this type of, setup is rare. I also have some of our pieces that we designed, and I'm going to show a little bit about epoxy. Epoxy is kind of becoming a new, trend, if you want to call it. It's becoming very popular. It's very hard to do. It's easy to do, but it's hard to master. But we love sharing tips as well. So here, let me show you, and I'm going to educate just quickly about some wood. Let me flip this so we can see. There we go. All right, so I got some slabs set up. And first, I just want to talk about some wood so people at home kind of know, because I didn't know anything about wood before I set up. But there's kind of 3 stages of wood, kind of 4. One is called wet wood. This is just logs you cut down in your backyard. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to cut down the tree and I'm going to make a table in my backyard. And I often have to talk to people. I don't want to bust bubbles, but the problem with that is they can have bugs. And if you see all these little holes in here, this is from bugs coming out of here. So if you put this in your house, bugs, if you see how raw that is, can come out and infest your house. Another thing is you see all the cracks and split in it. It's kind of like a grape turning to a raisin. Over time, this is going to dry. I don't know exact moisture content in 80% moisture in there, and you want to get it down to under 10. So you think about that 50% of that moisture is going to be coming out. It just dries and crinkles and crinkles. So you're going to have this nice, beautiful mantle or a table in your house, and it's going to last about a year or 2, and it's going to just, crack or move and shift and not be flat anymore. It's no guarantee there'll be bugs in it, but there's always 100% guarantee that it'll shrink and flatten. So be careful using wet wood. There's also what's called air-dried wood. Over time, it dries. And if it's dried significantly, maybe 10 to 20 years, that could work. But it also always has the chance of having bugs in it. So we use kiln-dried wood. They put it in the kiln, and it kills all the cells. So there's no bugs, no movement over time. Then you can get slabs. This is called rough sawn. It's just they cut the slab, and it kind of looks real rough. Then you can get it planed, and it has all the crack, but it's flat. And then what we do is we epoxy fill all the cracks. So if you see all these cracks, over time, they're just going to keep splitting and splitting and splitting, and it's just going to cut your wood in half. So we fill it with epoxy. And then the last step is kind of finished, and this is a finished slab. So you can see all the epoxy is filled in all the cracks. This is called burl. It's kind of movement in the tree. And then we put a finish on it. So this is kind of the levels of wood, and we specialize in black walnut.
We're joined by Stephen Grieshaber, a wood artist from Blessed Roots Woodworking, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. You can find more information on all of Stephen's art by visiting blessedrootswoodworking.com. Blessedrootswoodworking.com, or visit him at this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show next weekend, Saturday, July 30th, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. Sunday, July 31st, 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Stephen, you mentioned that you just started doing a circuit of different art shows fairly recently. What brings you to West Bloomfield and to the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show?
We actually just started, signing up for shows. And one thing is we've been doing a lot of our pieces, and I'll speak just as it goes, but we're doing signs and smaller pieces. And at these other shows, you get to kind of showcase wall art. And a lot of these are functional charcuterie boards, smaller rivers. But we kind of wanted to take it to the next level, kind of artistic touch to it, and start, bringing bigger pieces. So a lot of our specialty slabs we're going to be bringing, and a lot of them we're leaving kind of, I don't want to say blank, because they're all epoxy filled and beautiful as well and be finished. But there's so much that can be done with this from a client's perspective. If they want to get like a bench, we can turn this into a bench. Any of these can be anything: a desk, a bench, a table, a coffee table. We even do up to kitchen tables. But they can design this. I got clients at other shows and that they really only see our art. But when I talk to them, I get to, bring home jobs that they want to design. But at this show, it's kind of more to the next level of fine art. So we wanted to, really be able to display how furniture, and I don't mean just furniture like couches, but as in like table stands, bookshelves, can be also, functional, but also beautiful art. So that's one of the reasons we signed up for this show, to kind of just bring it to the next level and show what we really can, showcase that can go in your home as beautiful wood art.
We're joined by Stephen Grieshaber. He is from Blessed Roots Woodworking, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. So many great pieces there. And I will say, I saw the one with the Michigan logo on it, and that's great. You can go ahead and leave that at home. I'm a Michigan State guy, so I would encourage you, go ahead, just leave that at home. I don't think anyone's going to be all too interested in that at this year's art show. Stephen, we appreciate you joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. Thanks for being with us today.
All right, man. Appreciate you having me. God bless, man. And hey, I said it's custom work, so if you want one made Michigan State, you got my website, man. Give me a ring, man.
We will see you at this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show Saturday, July 30th, Sunday, July 31st. You can get custom pieces from Stephen on his website, blessedrootswoodworking.com. Let's take a break. When we come back on your radio homes for the Megacast, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills, as well as the remainder of our TV, radio, and web outlet network. We'll kick off the Michigan Megacast speaking with Dr. Jamie Taweel. Stay tuned. The Megacast continues after this.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. keep my family safe, and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Welcome to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft, welcoming you to our live 5 days a week look into all things Michigan. Today, we'll be talking to doctors, nonprofit leaders, advocates for at-risk communities, and more about topics important to Michiganders like you. Learn more about the program on civiccentertv.com on our Megacast page, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV, which you can find at mymytv.com, mymytv.com, where you'll find many of our editions of the Michigan Megacast, including all these great interviews on demand, as well as find us live from 11 o'clock to 12 noon every day for the Michigan Megacast, replays throughout the afternoons and evenings. And of course, learn more information about where you can download their free apps for your smart TVs and your smartphones. Take My Michigan TV programming home with you on the road in Michigan, around the U.S., and all across the globe with the free My Michigan TV app. Between COVID-19, seasonal allergies, monkeypox, and all other ailments, illnesses, and concerns, there's a lot to think about on the medical side of life in Michigan today. Here now to help clear some of the confusion around these many different issues is Dr. Jamie Taweel from Grand River Medical Associates. Dr. Taweel, thanks for being with us again.
Thank you for having me, as always. How are things?
Appreciate having you on. So last 2 weeks in the state of Michigan, as we mentioned earlier on in the program, from an article from Bridge, Michigan, and their coronavirus tracker. Case numbers in Michigan continue to be trending upward. Last week, just around 1,960 cases per day. In the past week, it's just a few shy of 2,000 cases per day, and those are being attributed to mostly the BA.5 variant of the Omicron subvariant of the Omicron variant of COVID-19, but also the BA.4 variant. Can you tell us a little bit about what you know about these two subvariants of the Omicron variant, why they're so much more transmissible, and the ways they're kind of interacting with our community at this time?
So the BA.4 and the BA.5 variants are the newest subvariants of the Omicron virus. And by the way, thank you for asking. Great question. Those new variants have identical spike proteins. They're pretty much responsible for up to 80% of COVID infections in Michigan, according to the CDC website. 80% for the BA.5, roughly 15% for the BA.4. Now, these two viruses have identical spike proteins, which are the proteins that attach to cells and allow them to get in. And the reason this variant is becoming so much more prevalent is because it is irrespective of whether or not you've previously had COVID. So people that have previously had COVID, which, not all people, but a lot of them feel that they have a little bit of immunity since they've been exposed, that, all right, I've had it, I'm done, I don't need to get it anymore. Whereas with this particular variant, it is now, if you've had it, it is irrespective of whether or not you've had antibodies to COVID, you will still get an infection with this particular variant. So you're seeing people that are getting it 2-3 times that are starting to just kind of cycle through variants. And that's why it's becoming a lot more noticeable. And plus, the other thing to this is that excuse me, your window for transmission and your length of being infectious to other people is a little bit longer by a few days. So that means people are still contagious for a little bit longer of a period of time, which also leads to further infections.
We're joined by Dr. Jamie Taweel from Grand River Medical Associates, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information and to get in contact with Grand River Medical can be found at grandrivermedical.com, grandrivermedical.com for more information. And Dr. Taweel, going off of that information, knowing that these particular subvariants in many cases are able to infect people that have been vaccinated and are unvaccinated, and those that have some natural immunity as well. Many are going to then, or are currently then, asking the question, well, then why do I need to get vaccinated? Or why should I get a booster for COVID-19 if regardless, I'm going to get COVID-19 from these two subvariants?
Well, the reason for that is because, while the BA.5 variant is responsible for up to 80% of the infections that are out there currently, there are still other variants that are still out there. And this will also continue to mutate as always. So any type of vaccination that you have to create antibodies to this particular virus will be helpful to some degree. You don't want to backslide or get older variants that are definitely more dangerous than the current one. The BA.5, although it spreads more aggressively and it is a much easier to get, and it is also resistant to certain types of antibodies, but you have to realize that it's a little bit less virulent, which basically means you're not going to be as sick as other people, but the sheer volume of people that will get infected can still become an issue and a burden on the health system. So being able to vaccinate yourself against previous variants, any potential new variants, as well as some degree of maybe even if not mild reduction in severity of symptoms, any option that you're going to be able to take to get yourself in a better position than anybody else, I would recommend getting that option. I would recommend taking that option.
Yeah, the point since the beginning, and that's been discussed to the communities in regards to these vaccines, is that they're not going to prevent you necessarily from getting COVID-19. They're aimed at preventing more severe cases and reducing the load that infections our communities have on our public health systems, especially in those areas of the state that don't have large hospital systems in the area or even have great medical coverage in terms of primary care physicians in the local area too. Those are really important communities for people to be considering getting vaccinated or taking those precautions, because while the spread of COVID-19 has it can have up to severe impacts on major cities and major metropolitan areas and large counties like, Oakland County, Wayne County, Ottawa County, and so on, others in the UP. Many other community areas and many other counties are any sort of additional load on their hospital systems, on their medical systems, could be significant and fatal in many cases for people in smaller areas of Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be able to reduce that risk, and anything that you can do to reduce that burden. I mean, patients have been telling me nonstop, it's a nightmare going to the ER because there's so many patients that are in there for COVID, and that while that number is declining, the amount of people that are getting infected is going up. So even if it's milder cases, people that are going to the ER for, if not just even testing or diagnosing or potential, people that do get COVID want to go in there and get their infusions of monoclonal antibodies. Although a lot of the monoclonal antibodies that are out there are not necessarily as good to fight against the BA.5 variant. Some of them still are, as well as BA4 and BA5 are also showing that they are responding to the newer drug that's out there called Paxlovid, which is the oral medication that you take. But going back to the comments that you're making, is we really want to just reduce the amount of burden on the healthcare system. When you have a pandemic where you have things that are going on, the availability of help is basically the most important thing. So if you are flooding that availability with other variants, other issues, it becomes a bit of a problem because people aren't getting the help that they need. And it's frustrating because we're, as a society in most areas, are just used to being able to get help the minute we need it. You can get in to see somebody. It's urgent cares everywhere. But when it's overwhelmed, it becomes a problem. And these people are now being forced to wait. And as any illness will show you, as history has shown you, time is important. Getting there early, getting treatment quickly, getting treatment aggressively as fast as possible, reduce further bad outcomes down the line.
We're joined by Dr. Jamie Taweel. He is an internal medicine specialist at Grand River Medical Associates, joining us on the Michigan Megacasts. You can keep up to date with Grand River Medical Associates and get in contact with them by visiting grandrivermedical.com. Grandrivermedical.com is their page. So all of that being considered, Dr. Taweel, so many people out here in our communities in Michigan and around the U.S. and in the world right now with the COVID-19 situation being different than what it was maybe a year ago, and certainly from what it was 2 years ago. Right now, with everybody getting back out into society and in so many cases, or a lot of people getting back out into society, not necessarily everybody, people bring up the question, is the pandemic over? Or they behave like the pandemic is over. Is that, where are we in terms of this? Because it is kind of a confusing gray area for so many people, where it's not necessarily as intense maybe as it was 2 years ago, but it's still very much a factor in our communities.
Absolutely. Previous to this, I mean, if you could just remember, we love to forget, but I mean, 2 years ago, we were in lockdown. We were wearing masks. We weren't able to do anything. We were wiping down our groceries. Nobody knew what was going on. It was a bit of a concern. People were we were learning as we were going along. And I've used this example in previous interviews with you, and I've said it a million times. You're going to hear it again. At the time, we were working on a car, like doing mechanics work metaphorically on a car while we were driving it down the highway at 80 miles per hour. Weren't able to really kind of piece things together. We now have so much more knowledge and so many more treatment options that it has now become not as aggressive. We now, if you get sick, you do have Paxlovid, you have remdesivir, you have monoclonal antibodies, you have all these other options. And these options have been proven. And although they're still approved for emergency use in some situations, a lot of these things have been helpful. So with that safety net that we are now getting a better grip on our knowledge of what's going on, the one factor I want to make sure that we're aware of is long COVID, the symptoms that go on for long periods of time, things like that. We discussed that last time. That still remains to be seen. But for the most part, in terms of infectious and things like that, people have a little bit more of a sense of security. Is the pandemic over? Certainly not. But at the same time, it's not as much of a threat as it was previous because A, we have treatments, B, we have knowledge, C, we have an idea of what works and what doesn't. We have precautions that we can still take. And most importantly, we have a variant that is less severe as the previous variants, thank the Lord, but that doesn't mean we can't get a variant that's more dangerous. So keeping our antenna up, so to speak, to make sure that we're not going to continue to get recurrent variants is important. And I do recommend that people still maintain that level of awareness.
We're joined by Dr. Jamie Taweel from Grand River Medical Associates on the Michigan Megacast. Dr. Taweel, another situation that's giving people some parallels to the COVID-19 situation is seeing the spread of monkeypox being reported across the world, including here in the U.S. and in the state of Michigan. And in this case, this is a disease that spreads very much differently than COVID-19. But that being said, with it being spreading around the world and it being spread also here in the state of Michigan in some isolated cases as well, many will make those parallels between these two situations, especially with the pandemic continuing on. Tell us about the monkeypox situation, how it's different from the COVID-19 situation, and how people should be taking precautions.
So monkeypox is a totally different situation. And the reason for that is because it is spread differently. The spread is typically through contact with fluids or fomites, which is basically, clothes or surfaces that have fluids on it. And it has to get kind of connected with, into your body via a system of either abrasions, cuts, oral mucosa, things like that. There have been cases where monkeypox can be spread through respiratory droplets back and forth between people, but they have to be in close proximity for an extended period of time. So if you're using the precautions that you're using for COVID, your risk of monkeypox goes down considerably. In addition, it's more or less spread also through sexual contact. So making sure that you're maintaining those types of precautions will definitely reduce that risk. It can spread, it does spread. The other issue with regards to monkeypox is getting treated and diagnosed for it. This is relatively, although it's been around for a long time, this is something that we as primary physicians haven't seen in my entire practice of medicine. I haven't seen cases of it. There's been mild outbreaks, but none of them have been, near this area. We now have 16 reported cases in Michigan as of recently, as of today, I believe, where the diagnosis of it, the symptoms of it can mimic other things. They're basically these small, particular rash that shows these small pustules that can be confused for other problems. So usually a patient will come to a physician that has not been exposed to exactly what monkeypox is. He may look at it and say, oh, that's a simple infection or a sexually transmitted disease. If you're having a history of sexually transmission, a history of unprotected sex, you now have a physician that's looking at it going, oh, I don't necessarily, it's not going to be to the forefront of his mind. He will try treating with other options if he's not aware of it, if it's not on his radar. Now, once that becomes an issue where physicians now have an idea, hey, this might be monkeypox, we are now further down the line. And as I've said previous, the earlier you can get treated, the earlier you can get diagnosed, the better off you are. The other problem that we're dealing with in this particular situation is testing. Testing is very difficult to get. You have to get approval. You have to submit pictures of the rash to prove that you have a very strong inclination that this is, in fact, monkeypox. Once that happens, you get approved. You send them to one of the few labs in Michigan that can do this. And most of those labs are a send out. So it can be even up to a week before you actually get a diagnosis. By then, we're now worried that the spread may have continued or the person has declined significantly health-wise or even possibly improved health-wise. So, it's the delay in care that's going to be the biggest issue here.
Joined by Dr. Jamie Taweel from Grand River Medical Associates on the Michigan Megacast. You can find more information on how to get in contact with Dr. Taweel as well as the services at Grand River Medical Associates by visiting grandrivermedical.com, grandrivermedical.com for more information. Dr. Taweel, in the past we've talked about people being hesitant to go back to their primary care physician during the throes of the pandemic, and even as the pandemic started to change and situations outside of the home and the workplace have maybe not been as cautious as they've been in the past. Are we still seeing that as being a bit of an issue among your clients, among those that you converse with in the medical community, of people going back to their primary care physicians for those routine checkups?
Oh, people are, absolutely. Thank the Lord. People are starting to get back in track. They're starting to, we were dealing with the backlog of all the people that weren't going previous to this now. So things are, my practice is so swelled in business in terms of people that are now, all right, it's been a while. I'm out of medications. I need to be seen. Physicians are still offering telehealth services. That's still available to a lot of people, and I do it on certain occasions, certain emergencies. It is definitely something that can be done. People are now becoming more, and also I will say that people are also hesitant to go to urgent cares to some degree because a lot of people are just running to urgent cares anytime they have suspicion for COVID. So with that being the case, people are now starting to come back to their primary cares to get all of those routine health screenings, and we are starting to pick back up. Thankfully, people are doing much better, and I am very pleased for that.
Dr. Taweel, just another couple minutes with you before we say goodbye today. Anything else that people should be keeping in mind right now on the medical side of things here in the state of Michigan that they should maybe be conversing with their primary care physician about or keep an eye out for in the future?
Absolutely. The big concern is COVID's always at the forefront of people's minds. So everybody always has a sniffle and wants to know if they've had COVID, or we at least want to know if they've been tested for COVID. But once that's out of the way, common things are still common. Allergies, still common. Issues with regards to cholesterol, sugars, all of those risk factors that make you a bigger target for something like COVID, those are still there. So I do want people to come to their primary care physician and please to still get their routine checkups. Still make sure that they're being very aggressive about controlling their allergies, as this has been a rough season for allergies. Mine included. You probably hear me clear my throat nonstop throughout this interview. It can be out there. So please bear that in mind. The other thing is the emotional impact of this entire pandemic. I'm seeing a lot more patients that are having issues with stress, anxiety, depression, the frustration of working from home, the frustration of having to go back. These adjustments can be really, really taxing on you on an emotional level. People don't always want to talk about their emotional health with their physicians because they feel like it's a sign of weakness. It most certainly isn't. I would encourage them to do that because it's very important to make sure that you're being taken care of on all levels, and your mind is your strongest organ. So I would want patients to please bear in mind that now that the weather is nice, you can go out there and practice a lot of self-care. Please work out. Please enjoy the sunshine. Please take care of yourselves and make sure that emotionally you're doing well. Your stress levels are managed. You're being treated. You're doing what you can. And please have those conversations with your doctor. I often feel that gets overlooked.
GrandRiverMedical.com for more information and resources. Dr. Taweel, appreciate your time.
Thank you, as always. I really appreciate you having me on and allowing me to speak.
We're going to take a break on the Megacast. When we come back, more great news, information, and fun projects all across the Great Lakes state. This is the Michigan Megacast.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast, our live daily 1-hour program about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program on civiccentertv.com on our Megacast page, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Click on the My Michigan TV link and it'll take you to our co-flagships website at mymytv.com, mymytv.com, where you can also learn more about all of our programs, all their original programs, find them all on demand, watch live, and of course, learn all the different places you can download their free apps on your smart TVs, and of course, take My Michigan TV programming with you everywhere in Michigan and all around the world. Take Michigan in your pocket with the My Michigan TV smartphone app for free, mymytv.com. Joining us now on the Michigan Megacast is Ryan Hertz. He is the president and CEO of Lighthouse Michigan and joins us now on the program. Ryan, thanks for being with us on this lovely Wednesday.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, as we get into this conversation, for those that aren't familiar with Lighthouse, what are some of the services that you provide in the community to help address the issues of equitable housing, but also poverty?
Sure thing. So Lighthouse is actually the result of a merger between two longstanding social service organizations in Oakland County, one called Lighthouse of Oakland County, the other called South Oakland Shelter. Both were founded to respond to emergency needs, Lighthouse originally to respond to hunger, and South Oakland Shelter to homelessness. And over several decades, both organizations developed a continuum of services ranging from emergency response, like emergency food and shelter, utility assistance, eviction prevention, all the way to affordable housing development, supportive housing, financial coaching, and other stability-focused services. So we really try to address the spectrum of need, both from the individual level as well as the community and systems level, to reduce economic disparities and help families who are really struggling in our community.
We're joined by Ryan Hertz, the president and CEO of Lighthouse of Michigan, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on the website, lighthousemi.org. That's lighthousemi.org. Ryan, Lighthouse is now teaming up with Amazon to deliver meals also to families in Oakland County that may be in need of food assistance or maybe in need of meal delivery. Can you tell us about how that partnership began and the extent of that partnership also?
Sure. So we actually work with Amazon in a variety of ways. Amazon's been a really big part of our Adopt a Family program around the holidays, and has done all kinds of initiatives to support our mission in recent years. In this particular situation, during the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, we found that there were a number of people that we were serving who were vulnerable, who we really wanted to be getting food to without them having to go out to shop, without them having to go around to different food pantries, many with very high-risk situations. And so we started a program to connect volunteers to opportunities to home deliver our emergency food boxes. And we've done that for over 2 years now, serving thousands of families in Oakland County. Actually, I believe since the beginning of the pandemic, we've served around 60,000 households with our emergency food boxes throughout our community, right around 30,000 a year. And, Amazon has connected with us in so many ways, and we approached them about using some of their delivery drivers to help us get more food out to more folks. And they've been doing that, and it's been just a beautiful partnership, and we're really grateful.
So what's the response been so far from those that you serve through Lighthouse of Michigan to the delivery of these meal boxes with Amazon?
We actually have a partnership with a professor at Oakland University who conducted a survey of all the folks who receive our food assistance, both in terms of delivery and also through directly at our pantries and through some of our partner pantries who we provide these boxes to for distribution. And the delivery service is obviously hugely convenient for families that, both because of the current conditions around the pandemic and some of our families being high risk, also because many of the families that we serve lack access to affordable transportation options to go and access food, or maybe they live in an area that's not close by to any pantries. So we've had a lot of really positive feedback from the people that we serve around the service. The challenge is just simply that it's very difficult to scale the service, right? It's an expensive thing to do if not totally volunteer driven. And we've been really blessed that our volunteer community has really stepped up around this. And we're trying to explore ways to scale this more and make it more sustainable. And our partnership with Amazon has been a big part of that.
So recently, the Attorney General of Michigan, Dan Nessel's office, had a chance to tour your warehouse, Lighthouse Warehouse, being particularly in her office's determination to bring more attention to lawmakers in our state about the efforts that are being undertaken by nonprofits across the state of Michigan. Can you talk about that tour, what you have in the warehouse, and how that warehouse helps you to provide services to people all throughout Michigan with Lighthouse of Michigan?
Sure thing. So the Attorney General actually visited 2 of our service sites. We have quite a range of different programs at different locations. She came and visited our new family emergency shelter, which I can also speak to later, and then spent some time at our primary food distribution warehouse hub. And that site essentially is the result of our ramping up of food distribution work early on in the pandemic. Initially partnered with Oakland University and a variety of other partners to distribute food out of Oakland University Student Center. And then when school came back in session in the fall of 2020, we moved to a warehouse space. It's a vacant big box store at Summer Place Mall that is about 40,000 square feet of open, high bay warehouse space. And we utilize that space to bring food in much larger quantities than we'd be able to do out of our headquarters building, which was our primary pantry previous to this. We're able to accept much larger amounts of food donations. We're able to bring in much larger groups of volunteers to sort through those donations in a safe and distanced environment. And we're able to stage the distribution of those sorted food boxes that we hope will provide a family with everything they need nutritionally, so that they don't have to go around to many different locations and try to piece things together. So it's been a wonderful program, and we're really grateful that the Attorney General came out to learn more about what we're doing on a variety of fronts. We hope to be able to continue to keep this work going.
I understand, too, I have in my notes from our producer, the King of Television, Larry Nyland, that you also had mattresses in some of those warehouses that were given to Ukrainian refugees. Have you been able to get those mattresses to these refugees, and if so, how helpful has it been to them in getting acclimated to Michigan in their refugee status while, of course, we have the conflict going on, the war over in Ukraine?
Sure. So We double up use of that space. The primary use of that space, as I mentioned, is our emergency food distribution, but we double up use of that space because we have quite a bit of additional warehouse space co-located there for a variety of things. I'd say probably the second largest, in addition to food, would be furniture. Both for Ukrainian refugees, which is really through partnership. Others that were focused exclusively on the resettlement of Ukrainian refugees reached out to us. One of our primary values at Lighthouse is collaboration and making sure that whatever assets we have are put to the best and highest use of the community as necessary. So when partners reached out to us about that opportunity, we said, certainly not only are we willing to warehouse mattresses, but we're willing to access our partnership with Gardner White Furniture and other sources of furniture to help source it. We also have a pet food pantry located out of that location for lower-income families who have pets that have a hard time at moments affording to feed their pets or have access to other supplies, and that's in partnership with the Humane Society. So we utilize that space with a variety of partners, and that's just one of them. And of course, in this moment, that's an extremely meaningful opportunity for us to support a need.
We're joined by Ryan Hertz, the president and CEO of Lighthouse of Michigan. More information on their website, lighthousemi.org. That's lighthousemi.org. And earlier on in the year, Ryan, Lighthouse received a significant food donation from the Mormon Church in Utah. Can you talk about how big of an impact that donation, being that it was a significant donation of food, has had on those that you serve here in Michigan?
Yeah, it was a massive donation. It was wonderful. It was unexpected. It was exactly the sort of thing that needs to happen for us to continue to meet the expanding need. Early on in the pandemic, when we started expanding, we used to serve 300 to 500 households a week out of a pantry focused in the Pontiac area and a pantry in Clarkston focused on northern Oakland County. Throughout the pandemic, we've served right around 5,000 per week. And to get there, we ramped up a really big emergency response campaign early in the pandemic. We raised over $3 million, both for our emergency food expansion work, as well as to quadruple the capacity of our emergency shelter and relocate it to a motel. And we have spent through those resources. Those resources did carry us through quite a long time, and we were able to help far more people than we've ever been able to assist in the past. And we're now in a position where we're going day by day trying to bring the resources together. And when that truck came, it was, couldn't have been better timed in terms of allowing us to be able to continue to meet that need.
Ryan, if people in Michigan would like to help your organization at this time, what are some different ways that they can through either donations, and if so, what do you need in terms of those donations, but also volunteer opportunities with Lighthouse of Michigan?
Sure. So, of course, we need donations. We ask folks if they do want to support specific areas of our work to still do so financially, while we do appreciate in-kind donations of food and other things because of the amount that we're able to access at a lower price if we purchase it in bulk. It's better for us to purchase the food directly through our partner at Gleaners and through other partners, wholesale. Your money goes further that way than if you go and purchase and then contribute food. That said, we of course accept in-kind donations. We always are in need of volunteers. If you visit our website, lighthousemi.org, there's a volunteer sign-up system that will clarify what the volunteer opportunities are on the horizon and allow you to sign up and find out more information. And we also have upcoming fundraising events that folks are very welcome to join us. We have our rent party event in Detroit at the old Stanley Kresge Mansion in East Boston, Edison, Arden Park neighborhood. We haven't had this event for a few years in person due to the pandemic, and this year we'll be having it in person, mostly outdoors, trying to accommodate everybody's needs in this complicated time. And so we would encourage folks to join us. You can visit therentparty.org to find out more. It's a big jazz concert and party outside in the neighborhood. So please feel free to join.
We're joined by Ryan Hertz. He is the president and CEO of Lighthouse of Michigan, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on their website, lighthousemi.org. That's lighthousemi.org. And earlier, Ryan, you mentioned the family emergency shelter that your organization has as well. Can you tell us about that, and if people are in need of shelter in our communities, how they can get access to either the family emergency shelter or other shelter-related services provided by Lighthouse?
Sure. So we have a very limited number of emergency shelter beds for folks who are displaced from their homes in Oakland County. And at the beginning of the pandemic, the number of people calling us for assistance dramatically increased. And we realized that over the years, options for families had greatly diminished in Oakland County. We do have a domestic violence shelter, our partners at Haven, and we're grateful for that. But for families that are homeless, that don't necessarily qualify for those services, the only emergency shelter located in Oakland County that accepted families was the South Oakland Shelter, which was the shelter program that merged into Lighthouse. And that program serves both families and individuals based on first come, first serve. So for mid to large size families, the odds of having enough openings at any given time when a family calls are fairly small. And so what we realized during the pandemic, as the need dramatically increased and as we partnered with Oakland schools and others and realized just how many people were going without their needs being met in that population, we decided to convert one of our transitional housing buildings from a longer-term transitional housing program into a emergency shelter program. So we now have 18 apartment units specifically dedicated to emergency shelter for families. We also took that transitional housing program and we made it a transition in place program. So it still exists. It's just no longer at that site. Now we work with families in their own apartment as opposed to within our building in the community with the private landlord in a community where they want to live. At the end of the 2-year transitional housing program, they can take over the lease and transition in place. So they don't have to move out at the end of the program. So it's really been a mutually beneficial thing for both of those programs. And we're just grateful to be able to meet that need in the community at this time.
Ryan, before we let you go, anything else at this time that would be important for our audience to keep in mind regarding your organization or other ways that they can help Lighthouse Michigan at this time?
Certainly. So, in early 2020, when the pandemic hit all of us, there was a response that I never could have imagined from our community, a recognition as everybody was struggling that there are folks who are struggling more than others. There are folks that everyone is struggling, and yet there are people in our community who have less resources to navigate this tough time. And I think that, as we have moved through this challenging period over the last couple of years, I think some folks have perhaps lost sight of the reality of how the past 2 years have impacted low to mid-income families in our community. And I would just ask folks to remember that that impact is still with us. And to reach back out and re-engage with organizations like ours. We have so many folks who are so generous with their time and treasure and talent, and yet we have so much unmet need. And we really need everyone in this community, if we have a hope of achieving our mission, to be a part of that.
Ryan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So we'll take a break on the Michigan Megacast. When we come back, we'll talk to another local organization working all across the state of Michigan, but particularly in southeastern Michigan, to provide food to those in food-secure communities as well, and provide services to local food banks. Also, Gleaners Food Bank, Community Food Banks. Kristen Sulkel joins us next. You're watching and listening to the Michigan Megacast.
Let's relish these moments Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast, our live daily 1-hour program about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program by visiting civiccentertv.com on our Megacast page, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including our co-flagship My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the Michigan Megacast is Kristen Sulkel. She is the Director of Advancement Strategy and Planning at Gleaners Community Food Bank, and we welcome her to the program now. Kristen, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, for those that are not familiar with the work that Gleaners does, give us some background and some history of your organization.
Oh, I'd love to. So Gleaners was co-founded by Jean Gagne in 1977 as a way to secure and what is the word I'm looking for? To secure and store large quantities of food for agencies in the community who couldn't do that for themselves. And so Gleaners was actually one of the first food banks created in the United States. And today our headquarters remains in that building that we leased in 1977 in Detroit. We support 5 communities, 5 counties, I should say: Oakland, Wayne, Macomb, Livingston, and Monroe. And so we continue to serve as that vital link between available nutritious food and those in our community who need it most. And we do that through collaboration, through efficient operations, education, and innovative solutions. So we're able to move a lot of food. That includes shelf-stable foods, things that are donated to us, and also produce and milk that we secure ourselves. So just to give you a sense of that volume, last year we distributed more than 71 million pounds into the community.
So how does that collaboration work to benefit this organization and particularly to obtain and to distribute the food to people that are in need in the 5 counties that you cover?
Yeah, so collaboration works on both sides of the coin. That collaboration is with those who produce the food, so farmers, manufacturers. We have tremendous purchasing power so that we can buy that food at a very low cost. And then the collaboration also continues onto the other side of that, in which we work with a network of more than 600 partners. That includes schools, soup kitchens, pantries, shelters, so that they have that direct service to the community.
We're joined by Kristen Sulkel, joining us from the Gleaners Food Bank, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. She's the Director of Advancement Strategy and Planning at Gleaners Community Food Bank. More information can be found on gcfb.org. That's gcfb.org for more info on Gleaners Community Food Bank. And so you're providing this food to communities all throughout southern Michigan, southeastern Michigan in particular. And on top of that, you're also working with organizations to make sure these are getting to individuals that really need nutritious food that's going to be adequate for their needs and their families. So how do you reach out to these organizations? Or how do these organizations reach out to you then to find these individuals that are most in need of these resources in our communities?
Yeah, well, in some cases, the individuals reach out to the organizations themselves, but we provide resources on our website at GCFB for you to find those agencies. But in addition to working with that 600 partner network, we also have our own direct-to-guest services. And we have what we call community mobiles, and that provides emergency food in various areas across Southeast Michigan, where without an appointment, you can come to any distribution that's already organized. And if you come to us and say you need food, we'll give you food in a no-contact drive-through through mobile. Those operate 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And then the other way that we reach out to the community is through schools. Schools are often hubs of the community and a great way for us to reach students and their families. And we have about 60 school food mobiles right now. Same operation, drive-through, where students and their families can come through the school food mobile, get shelf-stable items, produce, whole grains and lean protein, and fresh milk, which is often a request from families, right in their school parking lot.
And Kristen, as we are in the summer, you talk about the impact of schools on providing these services and these resources to people in our communities. So often what happens during the summer is those kids that are able to get free school lunches or reduced cost school lunches, they don't have that availability necessarily to them in the summer when school is out. How does your organization adjust to that to help school children or school-age children in our local area to be able to still be provided with these critical resources?
Yeah, thank you for asking. In addition to those other methods that we talked about, that partner network, those mobiles, we also established our summer food service program, and that starts in June. We provide through 24 mobile sites lunches that are at low-income housing neighborhoods, so kids can come out of their apartments or where they live and get lunch directly from a refrigerated truck from us. And we also support 45 stationary sites across Southeast Michigan, and that's providing breakfast and lunch at places where kids already are. So it may be a summer camp or a daycare. And last year, we were able to distribute approximately 135,000 breakfasts and lunches through those summer food service program.
We're joined by Kristen Sulkel from Gleaners Community Food Bank on the Michigan Megacast. More information on their programs and services can be found on gcfb.org. gcfb.org for more information, as well as info on volunteering and donations to Gleaners Community Food Bank, serving 5 counties in southeastern Michigan. gcfb.org, again, is the website. So as we see in recent months and over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of factors that have made big impacts impacts on organizations across Michigan and across the U.S., especially nonprofits and organizations directly helping people with those critical necessities in their hometowns, whether it be the economic impact of the pandemic or the supply chain, certainly, but also inflation now, also a critical factor financially for so many families and organizations. How are those factors still impacting or continuing to impact organizations like yours and being able to provide these services, as you said earlier, at low cost?
Yeah, I mean, certainly food banks are not immune to the inflation scenario, and food does cost more for us to get, which often means that we have to minimize some of the variety. But what is most important to us is what's happening to our community members, our hungry neighbors. And through our mobiles, I mean, we are hearing that the expected summer need, compounded with that inflation, the high price of groceries and gas and housing, is really putting a strain on the budgets of families in our own neighborhoods, people who live right next door to you. And we know that family members are moving in together so that they can pool their resources to overcome it. We're seeing people who are carpooling to our distributions, walking to our distributions, picking up for themselves and neighbors. And we're hearing from parents who are skipping meals so that their kids can have more. And we're hearing some real concern from seniors who are on fixed incomes who just don't know how they're going to bear the burden of this inflation long term. And so our priority is really making sure that those individuals and families get the food they need to take one worry off the table.
If people are in need, individuals or families are in need of some of these services, what are the ways that they can go about reaching out to Gleaners Community Food Bank and being provided these services to them in their local community?
Yeah, there are two key ways that folks can find support in their community. If you have internet access, you can go to gcfb.org, and we have a Get Help button that'll give you a map of where agencies and distributions are. Or you can go to pantrynet.org. It also provides a map of nearby distributions. But if you don't have internet access, you can call 211 on your landline, and they will find the nearest support to you so that you don't have to face hunger or have your family members not have enough on their plates.
We're joined by Kristen Sulkel from Gleaners Community Food Bank on the Michigan Megacast. More information can be found on gcfb.org. That's gcfb.org, including donation information and more info on volunteer opportunities. For those that would like to help, because this is a massive effort across 5 counties in southeastern Michigan, how can people get involved and what sort of volunteer opportunities are available with Gleaners?
Yeah, so there's 3 main ways that I would coach your listeners to help us out. 1, spread the word for us. If you or someone you know is struggling or they think they will be struggling, please let them know about our distributions, how to find us, because it's important to us to make sure that our community members are taken care of. And the ways that we can do that, if we have time, talent, and money, donations are always important for us to continue our operations. And now is a great time to donate because we're in the middle of our Hunger-Free Summer campaign, in which citizens and other generous donors are matching donations made. So what that means to you is that you have double the impact. $1 will provide 6 meals. So for $10, you could provide a child with breakfast and lunch for an entire month. So that's a good way to feel good and support your community. And as you had mentioned, obviously, volunteers are the way that we make this work. And so if you go to gcfb.org, we have a whole host of volunteer opportunities, including sorting and packing food or volunteering at our pantries and mobiles, and even doing data intake for us so that we know what our community members need and how to best serve them.
gcfb.org/donate to make donations to the organization, financial contributions to Gleaners Community Food Banking, gcfb.org/volunteer for all those volunteer opportunities and to sign up for volunteer shifts with the organization. We're joined by Kristen Sulkel from Gleaners Community Food Bank on the Michigan Megacast. Just another minute or so with you, Kristen, before we'll need to say goodbye. Any other information at this time that will be important for our audience to keep in consideration about the services that are being provided by Gleaners or how they can help out in their community?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, I really want to communicate the gratitude that we have to all of our supporters. We really could not do this important work without the time, talents, and money of those who are around us. So we really appreciate all of that support. But even more importantly, We know that too many families wait too long to come and see us. They're waiting until the stress and strain of budget just feels overwhelming. And there's no reason to do that. We are here, we want to help. And so the moment that you think you need help, you see on the horizon that you may not be able to put all of the food on the table that your family needs, please come and see us. We want to take care of you and give you what you need. So I just want to reiterate those ways to connect again. And that is either calling 211 if you need support or visiting us on our website at gcfb.org and hitting the Get Help button.
gcfb.org for all the information you need to know on Gleaners Community Food Bank, including how you can get help, how you can get involved through volunteer opportunities, and how you can support all those opportunities, all those programs, and all those resources provided in 5 counties in southeastern Michigan. gcfb.org. Kristen, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That is going to do it for today's edition of the Michigan Megacast and the Oakland County Megacast. We'll return tomorrow with new episodes of both programs.